to another episode of Wrestling with WorldWide Willis. And today, we're going to break down some things for you. But first, I want to say this podcast is brought to you by the LMG Podcast Network. And you know how we start. Matches of the week, right? We love the graps. We love some wrestling. So this past week has some really good tag teams, 6-man tag matches. So first of all, I want to show some love to AEW with Collision. I think Collision has been pretty good lately to me. And I think mainly because they've been focusing on House of Black, which I've been saying for years now. Focus on House of Black, give them different opponents, separate them, do different things, but build around House of Black on Collision. And in this match, we had House of Black versus FTR and Daniel Garcia in a 6-man tag match. And man, it was a really good one, bro. Like, FTR don't miss. FTR is, if you put them in the match, it's going to be fun. The week before, it was just FTR versus 2 members of House of Black, and that was fun, right? Brody King wasn't even in that one as far as in the match, in the tag team. He made an appearance later, but, like, you know, FTR, they just don't miss, man. And then add in Daniel Garcia, who is an outstanding wrestler, but has done a good job of adding the entertainment value as well. So he can give you a little bit of both, right? Honestly, man, he might not have the look, but we've have plenty of Hall of Famers who are in the Hall of Fame who didn't have the look, right? So I think if Daniel Garcia keeps working, keeps getting better, like, dude has all the potential, bro. Like, for them to build AEW around him. And this match showed that, like, FTR, Daniel Garcia had a great chemistry. It made sense. Daniel Garcia is entertaining, but he's also really, really technical, really technical in the ring, which is really what really works well with what FTR does. They're really technical, but they're also very, like, smash mouth. They're very, like, hit you. They're not necessarily, you know what I mean? But they're the type of guys who literally watched tapes of Bret Hart and, you know, Mr. Perfect and all those guys, right? So going up against House of Black, which those dudes are not the technical. Now, Alistair or Malachi Black can technical wrestle with anybody, but they're more strikers. They're more power, you know, things of that nature. So it was a really good back and forth between those two teams. Had a lot of false counts, a lot of really good stuff. You know me, I'm a big Brody King guy, so I love that he got to get his time in. Right now, he has a hurt right hand, and he has a cast on it. Honestly, it makes him look even cooler just because he's wrestling with one hand. He's done his chops with one hand, and they're still struggling to get him to go down. You know what I mean? I think AEW, FTR, and Dan Garcia did a really good job of making Brody look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very hard. It's very easy for some dudes who are going up against a big guy to not make the big guy look strong. And they did that in this match. Brody looked like the biggest weapon that they were trying to strategically stay away from him. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was a fun match. Really good finish. FTR came out with the victory. House of Black. FTR, I'm trying to remember. No, that's right. Ah, man, who came out with the victory? Okay, I want to say, okay, yeah, I think House of Black won because I think Malachi Black hit him with the fade to black. Then my guy, forgetting my guy's name, hit him with the Seth Rollins stomp. And then 1, 2, 3. Then FTR came in. They started, House of Black started celebrating. FTR came in, and Danny Garcia came in with cheers, wiped him out. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the ending of it. But yeah, next match we have is a really underrated, like, wasn't expecting a ton from this, was the LWO versus the new Legado del Fantasma version with Santos Escobar, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo. And man, that was a really fun match. It was a really good tag team match. Santos wasn't in this one, but he was on the side, you know, in the booth, announcing on the side. It was a really good match, man. It literally, you could tell the producers of the match was just like, hey, man, I'm going to let y'all luchadors cook, man. I'm going to just let y'all do what y'all do. Probably done it a million times over in Mexico or wherever. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys have traveled around with each other and done this match before. So I'm going to let y'all cook. Just make sure everything look good for the camera angles and all that, and we can get everything right and timed ready. but I'm gonna let y'all do your thing. And that's basically what this match was, man. It was a lot of high flying, really fast pace. It was just a really good match, honestly. The crowd was getting into it. And so I just didn't expect a ton from this match, but it was fun, man. I had a really good time watching those guys go at it. And so shout out to them. And I'm looking forward more to that rivalry. And I'm really hoping they really keep pushing Santos and Legado del Fantasma and keep pushing that because you got a lot. And Carlito came in and went up against Santos, or basically interfered and went up against Santos. So I'm assuming they're pushing towards a Santos versus Carlito match. We shall see, but I definitely think Santos has, again, I'm a Santos guy, so I think he has all the tools to be the. I don't want to put the Eddie Guerrero trope on him because that's like the most lazy thing to do. But I think as far as like being on SmackDown, literally holding down a brand and being an international sensation, Mexican sensation, but also having the skills to translate over to no matter what race you are, everybody loves Eddie Guerrero. No matter what race you are, you love Eddie Guerrero. I think that's what they're trying to get Santos towards. And you do that by respecting him being a villain, right? We all love Eddie when he was a babyface, but we loved him as a villain too. Like when he was a villain, you felt scared for Ray. You felt scared for Dominic. You know what I'm saying? Like you just felt because he did it so well. So I'm hoping I think Santos has that ability. All right, let's get into the topics today. First, I want to touch on, man, I'm really noticing, obviously, right now, Monday Night Raw is probably the best show right now, right? I think we can agree on that. But I do like what they're doing with SmackDown. Like I feel like they're kind of building it how they did in the and I think this has kind of always been the case. But I think there was a special time, as we know, during that mid 2000s time where SmackDown was whooping Raw's ass, right? But it didn't start out that way. They started out with a plan, and then it ultimately led to you getting the Rey Mysterios, the Edges, the Eddie Guerreros, you know what I'm saying, like Batistas and throwing Taker in there, you know what I mean, Kurt Angles, like. But you had to build first. I think they're in the building process right now, SmackDown, right? Because I mean, if you think about it, think of their roster right now. You got Theory. You could think whatever you want about Theory, but he is a talent. Grayson Waller. I'm a big fan of Grayson Waller. You got Pretty Deadly, who I think once healthy will hold down the tag team division. Dragon Lee's really good. Again, just naming like young guys with talent, right? I just talked about LWO, Delgado del Fantasma. You got Karrion Kross, obviously, LA Knight. You still got the Street Profits over there. You got Randy holding it down as usual, right? You got some vets in there, right? Carlito, Bobby Lashley. And then on the women's side, think about the women's side is stacked over there, right? Bianca, Io Sky, Charlotte, right? Alba Fire, and obviously you have Damage Control with Bayley and Asuka and Dakota and again Io. So I just think what they're doing over there, and then potentially Pete Dunne, and we'll talk about that as well. But I just think what they're doing is really, really cool. I feel like I'm seeing it's kind of like watching a football team or a basketball team who has some veterans there, but they got some young talent they're letting cook, right? You're not in a rebuild period all the way because you still got some vets who are still there that are quality, but you still got some underneath talent who you think will be able to take it to the next level moving forward. Again, like it's just a really talented group. And right now, obviously, and you still have the foundation of it all, which is the bloodline. And Nick Aldis has been a great addition to SmackDown. And I think he adds a special kind of, I kind of want to see what Nick Aldis is going to do this week type of thing, where we didn't have that before, obviously. So I'm enjoying SmackDown. I think Raw's better right now just because they have more top end talent, right? They got CM Punks, they got the Codys, they got the Seths, they got Drew McIntyre, Dominic, they got the Judgment Day, Becky Lynch, Rhea, right? Like you got a ton of talent over there, but I mean Gunther, obviously, but I think give SmackDown about 4 to 5 months, and I think it's gonna change a little bit, right? Because I think Grayson Waller is gonna continue to shoot up. Once we get Pete Dunne, he shoots up. I think Bobby Lashley's always gonna be a mainstay. Got Kevin Owens. You still got Logan Paul, who holds the belt for whatever reason, but if he shows up, that's big. Obviously, you got one of the biggest stars in the game right now, LA Knight, Randy Orton, right? Like you got all these people here who can really do big things. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out SmackDown's layout right now. I think they're doing a really good job over there. Some people hate on SmackDown, but I'm like, I see what they're cooking. I see what Triple H is. I see months down the line what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it to where SmackDown is where the young guys go. Shoot, he debuted Dragon Lee when Dragon Lee was still on the NXT roster before he fully came over to the main roster. He was throwing Dragon Lee in there. Right now, he's throwing Carmelo Hayes in there, and he's competing in that U.S. title tournament that he competed in. Right, just exposing him, put him on a background segment. He's not on the main roster yet, but like you expose him piece by piece by piece, and then boom, he's gonna move over, right? And that's another addition. If they get him, that's a superstar level talent, right? With a Carmelo Hayes. So especially if we get Trick Williams over there too, it's a wrap. But yeah, shout out to SmackDown. People might hate on it right now, but I see what Triple H is doing. Again, I mentioned Pete Dunne. As you guys saw, you may or may not have seen the latest SmackDown episode. We had Tyler Bates speaking with Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne kind of expresses some frustration and like not knowing where he's going. He's kind of out, he's not with Sheamus and anymore, so he's kind of like the Brawling Brutes. So he's sort of like, I don't know who I am really. And Tyler Bates like, man, you got to find that. You got to find who you are again. And he's like, all right. He was like, what's your name? Like, you got to really state your name out there. And then they cut it off before what was my name now? Butch. Yeah, before Butch could say his new name, which we all believe is going to be Pete Dunne. We've been asking for his name to, if anyone's listened to this podcast, I've been asking for him to give him his damn name. Pete Dunne. Like that's the bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Like give him his music back, give all that stuff back. The Butch stuff it was cool for a little bit, but it never was worth taking Pete Dunne away from him, right? So give him Pete Dunne, let him become the bruiserweight, make him damn near go undefeated for a while, and just start destroying dudes. And I want to see him get that U.S. title. I think that'd be a really good look for him. But yeah, really excited for Pete Dunne. Really, really excited for that one. Now I want to talk about Rhea versus Becky. They had in this latest episode of Raw, they had a promo against each other. And I saw a lot of people's reaction to it, and it was kind of frustrating, to be honest, because it's like, sometimes I wonder, like, do these people understand, first of all, the business of pro wrestling? Like what they're literally trying to make money. So they're trying to make the biggest match, not the corner of internet wrestling culture's like lovable match. They want to make the best match and also the match that makes the most money. So I saw a lot of people were like, well, and essentially Becky was saying to Rhea in the promo that, hey, I've done it all. I'm the man. I'm literally called the man. I've main evented WrestleMania. I've done all these great things, but I have not beaten you yet for that title. I want to prove to myself and to others that I am the man and that I am the best there is, and I want to hold that belt. And people were mad that Becky said that. People were thinking like, you've main evented WrestleMania. You have nothing to prove. Why is she saying she has to prove? Is this the storyline? Really? This week? And I'm like, bro, give them, like, they just started talking. Like, they've been low key slowly building this. And they have their first interaction, and you want them to have some soliloquy about their past life with each other. It's the first time they interacted. Like, give them time. WrestleMania is not next week. We still have a Royal Rumble, right? And basically what Becky said is, I want to prove myself and beat you. The only way I can do that is I have to win the Royal Rumble, right? And that's the only way she can get her contender shot, right? That makes sense. And then fans were like, why does she get a title shot? She just lost to Nia Jax. Why does she get a title shot? And I'm just like, bro, did you not just hear what she said? she didn't call out Rhea and be like, I want a title match next week. She said, I have to go through another obstacle to get to you. Once I'm done with that obstacle and I win that thing, I'm gonna see you. I'm pulling up. And it's like, what? That's the most basic wrestling concept of all time. And it's just like, it's just frustrating, man. And I don't want to look. There's stupid wrestling fans everywhere. I want to be clear on that. But I'm realizing women's wrestling fans. This doesn't mean women in general, just specifically. I'm saying women's wrestling fans, man, women, whatever. I feel like women's wrestling fans are so like the most frustrating to see, to interact with. It's like they don't understand that, like, did you not understand, like, not everything needs to be Game of Thrones level storytelling, right? Like, some stuff can literally be, hey, I want to be the best. You're the best right now because you hold the belt. I want to beat you. Yeah, we have some past interactions. Yeah, we got beef. We don't necessarily like each other. But the brass tacks is, I want to beat you for that belt and I want to prove I'm better than you. That's like, I'm cool with that. If it's two people that have earned the right to do that, I'm cool with that. Literally my favorite rivalry of all time is built off of that. As far as The Rock and Stone Cold, like they didn't. Yeah, they had history, but the history was, I want to be the best. You're up here with me. I don't want anyone in my stratosphere as far as being the best. So I got to beat you. And the other person was like, yeah, okay, I got to beat you for the same thing. Like there wasn't some brass, this Sami Zayn level storytelling. No, like it's really simple. And I feel like sometimes they don't understand that. And it's like, it's the first week. Again, we got WrestleMania ain't till April. Like, why are we rushing this thing to try to, like, why are we expecting them to have some 45-minute promo every week? It's like, it's kind of silly. It's like, you don't understand the wrestling business if you think that way. And that's what I'm realizing more and more. People don't understand. People think they know wrestling, and they might know a little bit. Like, I feel like this is the most educated we've been in wrestling, but the dumbest we've been about the actual business. And like understanding, like they're playing the long game, folks. Like, come on now, catch up a little bit. But yeah, I did really enjoy the interaction between Rhea and Becky. Again, I think that's the match to make. If you are stupid enough to utter Liv Morgan's name, I'm sorry. I disqualify you as a wrestling fan because you don't understand wrestling to me. You understand, what someone would do on WWE 2K. That's fine. Go do that. Go play that right now. Go do that. Go have Liv win the Royal Rumble. Have her go face somebody at the WrestleMania because that's the only time you ever gonna see Liv Morgan wrestle WrestleMania. I'm sorry, she's not in a singles match at WrestleMania. It's for a title. It's not gonna happen. There's way too many better women. I'm sorry. It's just like they got way better options than to ever go to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan don't even have the buzz like that. We've seen her as a champion. She hasn't been good, right? No shot to her personally. It's just is what it is. There's nothing wrong with her. I want her there. I want her healthy and I want her wrestling. She's a great addition to the roster. But we have to stop with the leveling people up who just don't belong there, right? She's the perfect example of someone who they should have a mid-card title for. She's a perfect higher tier mid-card title holder. She's perfect for it. But again, really enjoy Rhea versus Becky. That's the title. That's the title match to make. They should have Becky win the championship or win at Elimination Chamber to have a title shot at Becky. I want one-on-one, them two. And if you're going to do triple threat or four-way, it better be dogs in there. It better not be nobody up and coming. Hey, respectfully, this is WrestleMania. It needs to be Charlotte, Bayley, Bianca. If Sasha ever come back, it's probably not going to happen. But you know what I mean? That level of star. It better not be nobody else. Or Io. I'll give Io a shot. But anybody else? No thanks. I want to see the dogs go against each other. So I'm really excited about that one. Now, I've also on SmackDown, I've really enjoyed the Logan Paul versus the Kevin Owens rivalry. I didn't know I'd like that much, to be honest. I thought it would kind of, wane on me a little bit just because Logan Paul's not there every week. But him as a title holder, I don't love the idea. I think it should be with someone else. But I get why they did it. brings it a lot of attention, which he has brought it a lot of attention. He's put it over on non-wrestling platforms, so good for him. Shout out to him. And KO has a broken hand, I believe, and he's recovering, so he's had that cast on his hand. And they've used that to the storyline, so I kind of like that. I think at Royal Rumble, when they face against each other, I think Logan Paul is going to retain the title. I think they want to have Logan keep the title until WrestleMania. And then once we get to WrestleMania, he will, lose it to somebody who's maybe up and coming or something like that. But I think they're going to use Logan Paul to get every ticket number they can, every view they can at WrestleMania, at Elimination Chamber, in Australia. They're trying to blow the roof off the place as far as attendance. So they're going to use, in social media interaction, they're going to use Logan Paul, every drip he has of him. So shout out to Logan Paul. He uses the WWE and the WWE uses him, and it's a good relationship. I'm happy about it. So good for him. Now, I did want to talk about Royal Rumble possible winners. Now, I did want to go, there's an article out here written by The Sportster. The website, The Sportster. Honestly, never really read this website, but it looks like a quality article. So we're going to go through 10 predictions for the 2024 Royal Rumble written by Tevin King. This is written on January 9th. All right. So it's pretty recent. All right. Number 10, we have the Kabuki Warriors win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I can definitely see that. Now, currently the holders are Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. They have the championship belts right now, and they're really getting over with the crowd. So I'm hoping this isn't true. But I'm okay either way. I kind of understand what they're doing with, obviously, Kabuki Warriors had the titles before in 2019. And so I understand what they're doing there, and they want to add some more gold to Damage Control to kind of have them solidify themselves as the dominant, truly dominant faction on SmackDown, women's faction. However, again, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter are they're the champions right now. They're over with the crowd. They're really exciting. They do a lot of creative stuff. So I'm kind of hoping Katana Chance and Kaden Carter retain the belt. I hope this prediction is not true. I really hope they continue to win the belt, and I hope I really want to see them to get a chance at a big pay-per-view like Royal Rumble. That'd be dope. Like if that's the match, I hope they pull it out and beat the Kabuki Warriors. Number 9, we kind of talked about this just now, but Logan Paul retains the United States Championship. Again, like I said, I think he wins it. I think he retains. I think they want to give him a quality opponent. Obviously, Kevin Owens is a top tier opponent, but they want to, continue that. They're not going to take that belt off of him before they hit WrestleMania season. Just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. It's not smart business. All right, number 8, Michelle McCool enters the Women's Royal Rumble match. I could definitely see that. It says here McCool has been featured in the last 2 Women's Royal Rumble matches. Now, if you remember last year, she kind of was in street clothes, sitting on the side, having a good time watching the Royal Rumble. Then her name hit, and she jumped up and got in the ring, in street clothes. So it was pretty cool. But she's in great shape. She hasn't lost a step at all. She could literally be a part of the women's division tomorrow. So I could definitely see this. And yeah, it'd be a really good time. Last year's Royal Rumble was probably better than the men's. It wasn't great though. So I'm looking forward to them switching it up. There are times where I think the Royal Rumble producers sort of overthink it a little bit and don't have as many eliminations as they probably need to. Like, we don't need 28 people in the ring at the same time. We need about 6 to 8, right? So that means you can have some consistent eliminations, but still have storylines going on, right? And that's what I thought the women's match did last year was they solidified story. They focused on story, right? If Becky Lynch came in, she was going at damage control because they had beef. You know what I mean? So, and the women and the men's wasn't necessarily that. Theirs was more like trying to get big names. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that the women's Royal Rumble kind of steps it up a little bit. And I hope both of them do. The men's Royal Rumble wasn't great either. So yeah. Number 7, Andrade returns to WWE in the men's Royal Rumble match. I could definitely see this. I could definitely see that. Again, for those who don't know, Andrade was a former NXT champion. He held the U.S. title for a while in the late 2010s. I think 2018, 2019, yeah, even 2020. And he's married to Charlotte Flair. And he was in AEW. He has some great matches in AEW, but they never treated him like a star, honestly. And he always took L's. And so I think Triple H, the best run Andrade has had was when he was in NXT under Triple H, when he was the NXT champion. That's his best run. And I think the reason he's coming back to WWE is because he knows Triple H understands him, and Triple H understands how to use wrestlers who aren't as fluent in English, right? As we've seen with what he's done with Shinsuke Nakamura, right? The way he's allowed Gunther to use, talk in, his native language at times. Same thing with Damian Prince and different people. So I think he kind of knows that, like, okay, I feel comfortable here because, they understand me and they're not going to try to change me. So I could definitely see that. I think that's a pretty high probability of Andrade returning back. And he's a great wrestler, still a great wrestler. So if he comes back, I could see him showing up on SmackDown and joining in the LWO or doing his own thing. I could definitely see it. And number 6, we have Naomi will be welcomed back in WWE. For those who don't remember, in 2022, her and Sasha Banks famously walked out on a show because of the frustration with the women's tag team championships under Vince McMahon. Naomi left, and she's now under the name Trinity. She left and ended up joining Impact Wrestling and has had a great run there. But I think everyone is pretty much under the assumption she wants to come back to WWE, especially now that Triple H is over everything. I think she just feels like she'll get more respect there, and obviously Vince is Vince, so I could definitely see that. Number 5, Brock Lesnar will return in time for WrestleMania season. I think this is pretty clear, right? Brock is an attraction, right? He was last year during, I think it was, I want to say it was SummerSlam when he went against Cody Rhodes, and that's obviously a big time attraction. Like, he's not going to show up for Elimination Chamber or, he's not going to be at some of these smaller fast lane. You know what I mean? He's going to be there for, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, the big ones, the big hitters, he's going to be there. And I think my hope is that we get Brock versus Gunther. That's my hope. I want Brock versus Gunther. I want Gunther to retain. I want Brock to put Gunther over. And I want Gunther to lose the title in a different way. Lose it to Dragunov too much down the line or something like that. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Brock shows up. I think he will, right? He's been out for a few months now. It's about that time. It's money-making season, so Brock is sniffing around somewhere. Number 4, Trish Stratus will return for WWE. She last wrestled at Payback and potentially had the women's or the men. She potentially had the match of the year with her and Becky Lynch's steel cage match. That match was amazing. So I could definitely see this. Trish coming back for Royal Rumble makes perfect sense, right? She showed. I know I doubted her. I doubted her ability to wrestle anymore. She looked bad at WrestleMania. She looked bad at WrestleMania Payback, and many other appearances. But what she did with Becky there that night at Payback in that steel cage, that sold me. That told me, okay, either Becky is the GOAT at carrying another wrestler, or Trish is out here leveling up a little bit, and kind of heard some of the noise and was like, all right, let me show y'all. So Trish showing up definitely makes sense. All right, number 3, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship could headline the show. So this is sort of controversial, not necessarily well, and actually now that I think about it, so back in the day, the Royal Rumble always closed the show, right? The 30-man men's Royal Rumble always closed the show. That was par for the course. Lately, they've kind of played around with the card and building the card. Like last year, I want to say the Royal Rumble happened. Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble, but that was not the main event. The main event was Roman versus Kevin Owens, and that's when you had the moment where Sammy turns on Roman Reigns and hits him in the back as the biggest pop of the year. That occurred in the main event. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen here. We're going to have the Fatal 4-Way with LA Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns for the Universal title. I think that's going to be the main event. I'm not mad either way. I think both options are good. But I think when you have a Roman Reigns, like you got to put him at the end of the card. Like you kind of got to, right? It doesn't take anything away from the Royal Rumble match itself, right? You're still going to be excited about the winner. It's still going to be a big, big moment for them and a big crowd moment. But come on, man, and it isn't like Roman's going up against some scrubs either, right? Like he's going to Randy Orton, big time, one of the biggest stars in the company right now, LA Knight, and then AJ Styles, who is an amazing wrestler, amazing performer, and people expect a great performance from him, right? He doesn't necessarily get the biggest crowd reactions, but people know who he is, right? They know his resume. So, yeah, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship could headline the show, most definitely. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. Actually, I would expect it. If it doesn't headline the show, I'd be a little more surprised then. All right, number 2, Bayley wins the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble match. The leader of Damage Control is yet to win the Royal Rumble. I can definitely see this. This is pretty much what everyone's prediction is right now. Now, some people are saying Liv Morgan. Again, I sound like a Liv Morgan hater. That's really what I sound like, and I apologize for that. However, if I have to choose between Bayley and Liv Morgan, that is the easiest decision I've ever had to make in my life. Bayley is a superstar. Liv Morgan is a star, right? Bayley has everything it takes. And I think people have been waiting to cheer for Bayley. Been waiting. She's been such a good heel, but when she was a babyface, people loved her. She was giving hugs to everybody, hugs to little kids and stuff. I think she doesn't necessarily have to turn into the huggable Bayley, the hug-friendly Bayley, but just turn babyface. I think the crowd would love to cheer for Bayley. Like, for real. Like, she's funny. She's, she got that thing on her. And she's just great. She's a great personality. And she's marketable as hell. Like, they be sending her to all the NFL games, all kind of appearances, just because she's so marketable and great for the business. So, yeah, I definitely could see her winning it. And then it'll be a fun thing where she gets turned on maybe by Damage Control, or maybe Damage Control turns on her after she wins it, or they turn on her within the match itself, and she overcomes them turning on her to win it, and then goes, okay, EO, I'm taking this belt from you, something like that. So that would be really cool. Either way, I definitely think this is the highest possibility. If we were doing betting odds for the women's 2024 Royal Rumble, I'm definitely putting my money on Bayley, for sure. I think she's got it. I really don't see anybody else. You could kind of go Nia Jax maybe, but I just don't. I don't think that's the answer. I think that kind of ruins things and doesn't add any storyline whatsoever. Because number 1, I think this is the most lazy prediction, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. CM Punk wins the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match. Now, I could definitely see that. He's yet to ever headline WrestleMania. And so to get him in the main event of WrestleMania versus Seth, which I think will be the choice, or Roman Reigns, you got to have him win the Royal Rumble. Or you got to have him potentially lose the Royal Rumble, but then get another chance at Elimination Chamber. So that's kind of Elimination Chamber's always been kind of the fail safe if things don't go great at Royal Rumble, or if they need to switch some stuff up storyline to get somebody in the title match, they use an Elimination Chamber a lot of the time. So, and I could definitely see Seth defending his title Elimination Chamber. So it could be interesting. But CM Punk winning it, I wouldn't be mad at it, especially if he's in shape, if he's ready to go and he can perform at a high level. I'm not mad at it, honestly. I think him and Seth at a Mania would have so much build and just so much hype around it because them two don't like each other in real life. So, yeah, CM Punk wins a 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me at all. However, this is the most unpredictable Royal Rumble I can remember. So if Gunther won it, wouldn't be surprised. If Cody won it, wouldn't be surprised. If, somebody else won it, wouldn't be surprised. Randy, So, but I'm definitely excited to see what Royal Rumble has. It's going to be a really good card, I think, the way they're building it out. And Triple H, for the most part, doesn't miss when it comes to pay-per-views. But yeah, that is the top 10 predictions for the 2024 Royal Rumble, written by Tevin King of the Sportster. So that was a good one. All right, now we're going to finish out with our top 5. The top 5 today is the top 5 wrestlers I am excited for in 2024. Right? So basically wrestlers that I think are going to get a huge opportunity in 2024 and they're going to knock it out the park. I want to start with a honorable mention. I think Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium is going to get a big time boost this year. He's got a lot of big boosts to end this year or to start this year, and even at the end of 2023. Taking out Kofi, taking out other members of the New Day, and he looking like a badass while doing it, looking like an assassin, one of them James Bond assassins. Like, he just looks really good. And he looks like he can carry his own. Yes, he stands behind Gunther, but he's also a weapon in his own right. And so Ludwig Kaiser, I think, is going to be a guy who really levels up and maybe could potentially hold, a mid-card gold this year, potentially, especially if Gunther gets off of that Intercontinental title. Number 5 for me to start the list officially, Santos Escobar. As I mentioned before, the Emperor of Lucha Libre. That's such a great name. The Emperor of Lucha Libre. I think Santos has all the tools like I talked about before. I think he'll get bigger opportunities as far as title shots and just being on pay-per-views, more pay-per-views and having more matches on pay-per-views. So Santos is definitely up there. Number 4 for me, Melo and Trick Williams. Those two, NXT is pretty much built around those two right now. But I think in 2024, they're going to get a lot more shine on the main roster, potentially getting called up. And I think both are going to kill it. Both are going to, Trick has leveled himself up already. 2023 was the year of Trick Williams. So in 2022 was the year of Melo. So I'm really excited to see those two. Hopefully they're together on the main roster, but if they're not, if they're separate, that's fine too. Those two got enough talent to hold it down on their own. But I think those two are going to get a lot of opportunities in 2024. Number 3, I talked about it earlier, the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. I think once he gets his name back and they let him be himself fully, the Bruiserweight, and hopefully give his music back. Hopefully. He got one of the hardest songs in NXT music history. So if they can give his music back, it really fits his character. So I think Pete, could potentially, compete for the U.S. title or be the guy to take it off of Gunther. If he does the work and the crowd is over with him, I think he can take it off Gunther. He actually owes Gunther because Gunther beat him in NXT UK for the world title. Pete Dunne was undefeated for years, probably like 2.5 years. Pete Dunne hadn't lost. But Gunther, known as Walter back then, comes in and beats him and holds and takes the NXT UK title. So Pete Dunne owes Gunther something. So I could definitely see that storyline. That's an easy one to write. Number 2, the Creed brothers. Creed brothers are simple, man. Those dudes just bang around, have great matches, tag team matches. I think are getting over with the crowd a little bit just because they're so strong and so they sacrifice their body a lot. So I could definitely see the Creed brothers getting over with the crowd more and potentially getting more tag title shots and even holding the tag titles, maybe even unified or otherwise. I could definitely see that. And then number one for me, it's pretty easy. I know it's Gunther. You pick Gunther for everything. I get it. But for me, really, in 2024, I'm excited for Gunther because I think this is where he takes the next step into main event level talent, right? He has really improved his mic skills, really improved his awareness, like on promos and things of that nature, and snapping back at fans when they yell stuff at him, being really quick witted with it. And so I think in 2024, I think what he does is he beats Brock Lesnar, retains the Intercontinental title, either gives it up or loses to Pete Dunne or Dragunov, and then challenges Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes, whoever the champion is, for the title fully. And I think he wins, man. I really hope he wins. And if he holds both belts, Intercontinental and the World Heavyweight title, that would be dope. That'd be really historic and really dope. So, but yeah, those are my top 5 wrestlers in 2024 that I'm excited about. Again, Ludwig Kaiser at the honorable mention spot. Then in number 5, we have Santos Escobar. Number 4, Mello Trick Gang, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Number 3, Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. Number 2, the Creed brothers. And number 1, the Ring de Rara, Gunther. But folks, I had a good time talking to you today. Hit me up if you have any suggestions or any predictions you think you want to throw out there for Royal Rumble. Hit me up. But until then, we out. Yeah.